Unscripted, unfiltered, unafraid. Welcome to the Macworld Podcast. I'm Michael Simon, and I'm joined by Jason Cross.
Good morning.
And our producer, Roman Loyola.
Ahoy there.
This is podcast number 954. And if you listened last week, you know what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the MacBook rumors, probably dominated by the touchscreen OLED stuff, but all of them. The M5, that iPhone chip one, maybe the M6 touchscreen stuff, like all of it. But I have a lot of thoughts about the touchscreen thing, as I'm sure that Jason and Roman do as well.
We've been through this so many times by now.
We've been through it, but it seems closer and further away than ever. Anyway, I'll save it for the minute.
Save it for the segment. Yeah.
And then we're gonna have a new segment called "The Coolest Thing I Saw This Week." Wrap up with This Week in Apple History and our reader mailbag. You can contact us through Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads. Search for Macworld. Look for the Blue Mouse logo. You can send me an email or Roman or Jason an email. It's all the same kind of like format. Mine's Michael_Simon@foundrycode.com. It's the same for them. Just send us an email. Tell us what you think about the MacBook rumors or whatever else you want to talk about, because we're always looking for comments from you guys. But all right, before we get into all the MacBook stuff, I want to talk about. So this weekend I saw at long last the new Superman movie, or the latest Superman movie. Jason's been telling me to see what is it, Peacemaker, for a long time, and I haven't gotten around to that yet. Sorry, Jason, but I did watch Superman, and I was excited to watch it. I know it's late, movies are so weird now. Like, I missed opening weekend because I had my son had a baseball game,
sure,
or a couple of baseball games. And I've reached the point where if I don't go opening weekend, I'm like, well, I'll just watch it on TV. It'll be out in a couple of weeks.
Well, opening weekend's the worst time to go.
It's been, 3 months?
It's so, I think it actually got on streaming pretty quick, I think. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's my point. Is that it doesn't take long to reach streaming. And I have a pretty nice TV, and it's 4K, and I got a nice sound system. So I'm okay with it at home. Anyway, I was excited to see it. I'll go on record saying that I'm a Marvel fan, probably more than DC, but I saw I liked Wonder Woman, I liked Man of Steel, I even like Batman vs Superman. I saw the 4-hour Justice League epic thing. I kind of liked it. I'm into that stuff, and I was very excited for this particular movie because James Gunn is rebooting the whole thing, and he did a great job with Guardians, and I was real excited for it. So I sat down, my son and my wife, we have this, we got popcorn and everything. And I tell you, man, inside of 30 seconds, I wanted to turn it off. I hated it.
Wow.
I didn't even finish it. I got to go back and start it again. I didn't like the intro. So I don't want to get into too long of a thing because Roman's going to yell at me. But the first thing with the words on the screen, and it's 3 million years ago this happened, and 3,000 years ago this happened, and 3 minutes ago this happened, and Superman's getting his ass kicked immediately, and it's what on earth is going on? I didn't like it, Jason. I know you're going to tell me that I was wrong. Yeah.
No, I mean, hey, you can't be wrong to have your opinion.
Well, all right. Tell me why it's good.
There are some. I'm surprised you bounced off it so early because the stuff that is
I watched
questionable. The stuff
I watched
like
an hour and a half of it.
The stuff that's more questionable is at the end. They never know how to end these movies.
Oh, it
they
gets
never
worse.
know what to, they never know what to do story wise to wrap this up and things escalate. But no, what I kind of appreciated about it is, oh my God, we don't need an origin story for Superman.
I agree. I'm with you there.
Or most of this other stuff. The world is so drowning in comic book pop culture stuff now that you don't. We can just jump into the middle of the story and
I understand that
and go with that.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
but I want to get to know the Superman a little bit before he gets his ass kicked.
I see, but that's kind of what I like about it. I like that sort of head fake of Superman's getting his ass kicked. Superman doesn't get his ass kicked.
Right.
How's this happening?
Right. That was my first question. Like that doesn't usually happen.
Yeah, that gives you something to be interesting. And then they immediately introduce the dog, which is the best character.
Sure.
And then
I'm with you there.
Right. Did you at least get so far enough to where, there's Green Lantern and stuff like that? Did
yes,
you get that far
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that they
also
have.
Bothered me.
I like that they have the worst Green Lantern as their Green Lantern. Like the main Green Lantern is Guy Gardner, who's like the kind of the worst one. He's the most entertaining one too. He's like not so straight laced and boring like every other Green Lantern is and stuff. I kind of like that they just set up this world where they go, this superhero, or they call it metahuman, stuff is everywhere. And so people have gotten accustomed to it. Like a kaiju's wrecking the city and people are just like eating their cronut watching it because it's like, oh yeah, good. They're coming in to like fight the thing,
Another day.
Another day, Metropolis,
Yeah.
So I kind of appreciated how comic booky it is, right? Like it's not trying to be like, this is the real world, but what if there were superheroes? It's
but they're also doing that. They're doing that too, though. Like there was that element of it. Like this is the real world. Is it's not a completely and totally fantastical. I mean, it is, but so is Iron Man and Hulk. But it's still very clearly set in like a reality based metropolis,
right.
a metropolis city.
Right. I mean, it's not a cartoon,
right?
But it's it's not our Earth. Like these are cities that don't exist on our Earth. Metropolis is not a stand-in for New York. It's another city. There's like different geography. There's different, like the world is different. This is a different world, and it's and it's a world that's just like full of this nonsense all the time. And it's bright and colorful. I'm so tired of like them trying to make. There are superheroes where it's supposed to be like dark and serious and all this stuff.
I mean,
save that for Batman.
Movie was
save that for that. Superman's supposed to be bright and colorful and
sure.
over the
I was
top.
okay visually. I was fine with it. Like I liked the actors. I liked the casting. Lex Luthor, that whole thing. I had all sorts of questions. Like it's like a criminal enterprise operating in the middle of Metropolis, seemingly, with like a whole staff of people that's running these villains and sending them off to do stuff. And I don't know how I got to watch the rest. I'm sure they explain it, but he just kind of walks into the Fortress of Solitude without really trying, so I have to figure that part out. But my main problem with it was that like. We're expected to make all these leaps. Like, so the big plot is that the Earth turns on Superman, and like we watch that happen in real time. And like I don't know anything about this particular Superman, so I wasn't invested in it. I'm probably supposed to feel bad for him. I didn't. Like people immediately believe what they're told and they don't question it. That bothered me. Like I had so many questions about it. And again, I gotta go back. I gotta watch it again. I gotta finish it for one. But as the first movie of a reboot of a whole universe, it just felt off to me. And I was bummed because I was looking forward to it. Yeah. Roman, did you see it?
I did. You were talking about Luthor and how everybody, it's kind of like this criminal syndicate that's kind of operating out in the open, and then you talked about how people kind of accept what they're being told. You don't see the real world analogy there, Mike.
Yeah, I feel like that was. I think they were making a very astute point about how once you're rich enough, you're untouchable, and
it's kind of a blunt force kind of analogy.
Yeah, there. No, sure, I can on a base level, I can understand that, but it still bothered me.
I liked it. I wasn't a big Superman like you. I wasn't a big Superman DC. Growing up, I was I collected Marvel comic books. I tried reading when was it like maybe 15, 20 years ago? I don't remember how long ago. Maybe not that long ago. DC decided to kind of reboot everything, and they came out with what they called the New 52. I tried getting back into comic books, seeing that as a starting point with DC, and I hung around for a while, but I kind of lost gas on it because DC characters just, I don't know, there's something about them that doesn't do anything for me. Maybe it's too much history in my head. And the Superman movie though, I did like, what's his name? David, what's his name?
Corson
Webb. Yeah, I liked him as Superman.
I agree.
I liked Crypto.
Sure, everyone liked Crypto. He was awesome.
And and I loved the scene with Mr. Terrific and Lois. You know what's I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I didn't get this.
Yeah, there's a scene where they infiltrate Lex Luthor's camp.
Okay.
And Mr. Terrific, who I believe is like analogous to Mr. Fantastic in the Marvel universe, except they have different. Yeah,
that's kind of
very different powers, but
different powers, but they're both supposed to be the smartest guy in the world, kind of thing. And there's a fight scene, and I thought that fight scene was really cool. And I saw it in the theater, so maybe that had a different effect.
Maybe I had to see it in the theater to appreciate it.
Yeah. So I thought it was fine. One movie, not to go off on a different subject.
We're already on a tangent, room. It's okay.
But because I saw Superman or maybe I saw Superman and Fantastic Four within a few weeks of each other.
Yeah, they were close to each other.
Yeah. And I thought Fantastic Four was boring. And
I saw that too. It was fine. I'm not rushing back to see it again.
Yeah.
I didn't have as many problems as I did, but yeah, you're right. It was okay. Like it wasn't great.
So
yeah, I thought Fantastic Four had great sort of world building. They had this great sort of design for this version of Earth, and a really good cast. But it just kind of didn't have any. Nothing was ever really surprising, or that funny. And so I thought there were a lot more sort of surprises and stuff. Well, don't let that turn you off, Peacemaker, because I think it's very.
It's literally been like 2.5 years that Jason's been trying to get me to watch Peacemaker.
It's really good. It's
even before they rebooted anything. Like he told me.
Yeah. If the second season takes place after that movie, so it's part of the reboot thing and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more sort of boots on the ground, grounded stuff. It's not like there's no meta humans in it, but it's not crazy whack all over the place. Right. And it has a lot more time. You've got 10 hours to tell the story. So you're not like rushing from one thing to the next without explanation and all this, If there's any criticism I really have of that Superman movie, it was too busy.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Yeah. It's just a lot all the time. Mm-hmm. They're really trying to get it all into 2 hours. Like this. It's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, he could have dialed it back a bit, maybe. All right, let's stop because I'm going to get it.
Speaking of under 2 hours.
I know.
All right. Listen, if you like Superman, great. Like, my opinion doesn't mean anything to your enjoyment of the movie. I hate when people say, like, well, you suck because you liked something I don't. No, that's not true. Listen, if you liked it, great. I just didn't. And, that's just my opinion, which, for whatever it's worth. All right, on to more important matters. All right, so when did we get the Roman? The M4 MacBooks came out, about a year ago?
Yeah, about a year ago. Yeah. I think closer to the end of this, we got them at the end of October, beginning of November.
Yeah, that was that non-event thing that they did. And it looks like that's going to happen again. So there's rumors today, actually. This is Tuesday, October 7th. There was a rumor this morning that next week, Gurman, it doesn't come from Mark Gurman, but he kind of alluded to it. And then someone else on Twitter, Roman, you could tell me the guy's name. I don't remember his name. Who posted this morning that next week could be another of those multi-day Apple website releases.
Yeah.
He was a YouTuber from Max Tech. I can't remember his name. I want to say it
starts with a V. Hold on, look it up real quick because I don't want to start this whole thing and have to go back.
I don't.
It's in your article.
Yeah, I kept misspelling it. That's why I was like, I don't know what I wrote his name down, but I can't. It's Vadim Yuryev.
Okay. Say that again because it was funny.
Yeah. Vadim Yuryev. I'm sorry, Vadim, if I got
we apologize.
Your name. So.
Roman's terrible at pronouncing all these names.
Yes.
That's why we give him the reader mailbag assignment. So he reported, or they reported, it's a he, I think, because his picture is a person, a man. He reported that next week Apple will have another to launch the M5. So it's going to be the MacBook Pro, Vision Pro, and the iPad Pro. So last week we talked about briefly that someone had already leaked the iPad Pro to a YouTuber who unboxed the whole thing.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. So that tracks. The Vision Pro, the Vision Pro we've heard about for a while, that they're going to update it kind of mildly. And so what's interesting about the MacBook Pro is that this person reports that it's only going to be the base model of the 14-inch version. That's all that's going to release next week. So it's just the M5, not the M5 Pro, not the M5 Max.
And doesn't the 16-inch, can you get the base model in the 16-inch?
Right. No,
that's just only the Pro and Max.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So
those two chips are allegedly going to be delayed.
Are just going to be next spring or early in the year or whatever, and that's when we'll get up the Pro version of the 14-inch, and you'll get the 16-inch with the Pro and the Max.
The report, Jason, while we're on this, it says, and you can tell me why this would matter.
Okay,
hold on, I got to bring up Roman's story. That the chip design will be different, and it'll feature, quote, separate CPU and GPU blocks on those two chips. Do you have any thoughts on what that means for those models?
Man, I'd have to see the original report because they already have separate blocks. Like the CPU and the GPU are separate areas of the chip with separate cores and whatever, but they're on one piece of silicon. What would be interesting would be are these two separate pieces of silicon on an interposer?
So this guy writes, maybe this will help. M5 Pro, M5 Max will have a new chip design with separated CPU and GPU blocks, allowing customers to mix and match core counts, i.e. maxed out GPU with base CPU.
Okay. That would be, first of all, that is very interesting, but what that even makes it sound like they're not even separate. There's two ways to do this. You could have separate dies, separate pieces of silicon on a CPU one and a GPU one. AMD does this kind of stuff on some of their chips and stuff. But they're on one chip. It's a chip with
the system and package thing is still
it's a system package chip with a piece of a silicon interposer, and it's got two dies on it: the CPU and the memory controller and all that other kind of stuff, and the GPU, which is usually where you also put things like the media blocks and stuff like that. But if you can decide, I want this CPU and that GPU, that makes it sound like they're actually two separate chips.
Yeah.
That'll both be soldered on the motherboard close to each other and stuff like that, but they'll literally be two separate chips because you wouldn't manufacture such a wide variety of chips to account for every combination of CPU and GPU core and try to guess what people are going to buy.
Which is kind of what they do now. You're stuck. You're
just stuck,
chip,
but they don't have a variety.
Cores,
you get one. They make one thing and they disable some cores and that's it. Right. So to have a choice, that's interesting. It also means that if you are interested in things that take more GPU power, if you want to play games or something like that, you could spend your budget on that. You could have the lesser CPU and a greater GPU or something. It's a totally different approach for Apple. That would be a really unique thing. And
it would make sense to do it with the Pro and Max because those are the people who would care about that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So we're going to, that'd be interesting to see the teardown and stuff because they also still, I mean, there's a lot going on with how they handle unified memory and the memory controller and all this other kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how they're do this. If that's the claim that it's like separate, and you can separate dies or even separate chips, and you can choose which ones you want. That's pretty.
So that
exciting.
Like that rumor got me thinking of the Mac Pro. I know we're talking about MacBook Pro, and we'll get back to that in a second. But the Mac Pro still has the M2 Ultra from a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is why. If it's going to get like an M5 Ultra and it's really customizable. Yeah, probably not quite to the point where you can upgrade memory aftermarket, but at least have some control over what you're getting and not just say you're getting this or this. That kind of makes sense to me.
That, and it also kind of makes sense to me that if they are separate chips, that will be like, not all together under one heat spreader and all that kind of stuff. If you can, then they can have separate cooling and separate voltage applied to them and all that other kind of stuff, which you really, really matters when you get to the big desktop computers that can handle a whole lot of power and a whole lot of voltage. You could have a really high power CPU and a separate really high power GPU because you've got different voltage lines going,
fans and heat
cooling blocks on them and all that other kind of stuff. So it would make for a huge change. It would be a really interesting way to go.
And, kind of maybe challenge NVIDIA down the road, because they'll have the ability to beef up that GPU even more with each generation.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. This is all the first time they do this, and they start to people tear it down, or they make their cool, slick CG diagrams about how they're doing this. It's going to tell us a lot. It's going to tell us a lot about like what the future could be. So yeah, that'd be really interesting. I hope they do that.
Yeah, me too.
I like when they do interesting stuff.
Yeah, and I like when you write about it. So that sounds super interesting. But next week it would just be the M5, according to this rumor, which makes sense because we've heard rumors that the M5 MacBook Pro would be delayed to 2026. We've also heard rumors that the M5 MacBook Pro is releasing this year, so it makes sense that they're both right, and that the one is releasing now and the next is releasing later. So, in addition to the, so if it's just a 14-inch model, it's just an M5. It's probably not much to talk about. A slight refresh to the chip, a little faster, a little more efficient, maybe, but probably not much else.
In the case of all these MacBooks, the rumors are that we're not expecting any kind of actual real updates other than the chips.
Right.
Even when we get to the Pro and Max one, and then the late 2026, like the next MacBook update is supposed to actually have new displays and new, new stuff.
So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Hold on, let me just back up real quick. The M5, so the 14-inch M5 MacBook Pro would probably be, $1,599, the same stuff. Maybe a new color or something. I don't know. I don't even know. There's not many other rumors about that. It's just a chip.
The only rumors it's just a chip update.
Yeah, it's possible. But usually they add something else, like I don't know. Like they did I think it was with the M3 where you could run a couple displays at the same time. And I don't know what features people are waiting for. Maybe Thunderbolt 5 or 4 or whatever they're up to now. Yeah, I don't know. But probably a very mild, tame update next week. And then I guess February or March, we'd get the Pro and Max versions of that, which would look the same. But if this chip stuff is real, the rumors are correct. That's interesting. That's probably worthy of some people to upgrade from an M4 to an M5 if they can mix and match and get higher CPUs or GPUs or whatever else, whatever they're looking for.
Yeah,
so
possibly.
That's the M5. What Jason was just saying, the exciting stuff that we've heard about for a long time now is the M6, which would come out presumably next fall, maybe winter. I don't know, like October, November. A time frame. And so the first thing we're expecting is a new design. So when did this one come out? Roman, do you remember the Was it with the M1s? This version of the MacBook Pro, does anyone remember when was it the M1s or the M2s?
It was the M2. The M1 was still the wedge.
That was the Air.
You're talking about the design?
You're right. The M1 Air. Yeah.
Yeah, the Pro design.
I believe it was it the M2 Pro? Because
M2 Pro?
Wasn't there? Yeah. There was that staggered.
There was
release.
The 13-inch one that didn't get any design, but then I think the 14 and 16 came. Was like still
a few
M1s?
Months. It was a staggered release. There was that staggered release.
Well, whatever. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
With this design, and it's a good one. It's a good design. There's nothing wrong with it. But allegedly next year, 2026, we'll have some kind of a new design. I don't really know what the heck they can do at this point.
It's still going to be a slab of aluminum.
Yeah, right.
Right. But there's no way that they don't do slab of aluminum. But a slightly different slab of aluminum, probably thinner.
Maybe a little thinner. I don't know. There's not much they can do, as Jason just said. But maybe get rid of the notch. I never understood why that notch is there. I guess they did it to make it kind of simpatico with the iPhone at the time. But there's no need for it. There's nothing in there other than a little tiny camera.
Right, which could go above.
Yeah, right. And we never got Face ID. We never got any other components in there. It's really big. Like it's a pretty thick notch.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that goes away. Maybe we get Face ID. I don't know.
I would love that.
I don't know if that's a security thing. I'd like to have Face ID, and that's where it makes the most sense because you open up your laptop, you're always looking right at it, like the Windows Hello stuff. Like they've been doing it for a while.
They have. It's from what I understand, it's a Z depth thing. The lid on a MacBook isn't deep enough to put the whole Face ID module.
That makes sense.
Like you can have the cameras that they put in there are a little thinner, but when you have to do the IR emitter and all that other kind of stuff, it requires just slightly more depth. And they're not willing to make it a 0.5 millimeter thicker, the top lid part,
Right.
So.
Well, they did make the iPhone Pro thicker, so maybe they're willing if they've shrunk it down a little bit since the first ones came out.
There's a decent chance that this new the new front module that they have in all the new iPhones this year that has the new camera
the 18
and everything else.
Selfie camera. Yep.
Yeah, this with the square sensor and all that stuff. It could also that might also be just thinner enough. It might have been part of their whole design thing that like, hey, we're updating the whole True Depth module.
That makes sense.
And we want to make sure we can get this in the Macs. Let's make sure that it meets these design requirements. That's all possible. So
sure,
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't mind touching the corner. I got to reach over and do it. It works well, really fast. Mm-hmm. But opening it up and having it like immediately recognize my face and launch and pay for stuff like that's
just passwords. Just every website you go into and just being able to stay on the touchpad or whatever and just use it's your face and just fills it in and you just go. It'd be so great. So
absolutely, So maybe that. Although I don't know if you've heard any rumors about that, but I think we might have.
So far, not. Yeah, so far there's been no. Oh, you're finally going to get Face ID on Macs. Yeah, just not in there.
So yeah, new design of some sort. Maybe new colors. I mean, they do that from time to time. Cosmic orange would be cool. You wrote that story yesterday.
Yeah.
About Dbrand is having they have these skins that make everything orange. I would buy a cosmic orange MacBook Pro in a second.
Everyone would know.
Right.
You look. Yeah, that's cool. I think we never do hear. They've updated the front camera in Macs a couple of times, and we never get that rumor because they're kind of commodity parts, and they're parts that sometimes they use, especially if it's like the whole True Depth module they use in phones. The supply chain is just going to be like, well, Apple bought another 6 million of these parts. Right. Like you don't know that they're using them for phones or MacBooks. So
sure. Yeah, I remember them when the MacBook Pro came out with the notch. Like I think that leaked like the night before or a couple of days before.
Yeah,
that was happening. That wasn't a long time rumor. So Jason's right. Like it's not like iPhone stuff where people are constantly poring over parts and looking at supply chain stuff and leaks and things. It's different with Mac. So yeah, it could be the Face ID is just people who are reporting on this stuff don't realize that that's what these new parts are.
Or they just might. What I'm saying is they might not even be new parts. They might be parts that you wouldn't be able to tell they're not for the iPhone because they're the same thing.
Right. Yeah,
So
they
who
would.
knows?
I mean, logically, it would be the exact same module.
You would hope, yeah.
For both things. I mean, they put it in the air, although they put it in that big, thick part at the top. Yeah, so forget that.
Right. But they also put chips behind it and everything. So, who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, new design, but within that new design, it's supposed to get an OLED display, or as Roman says, an OLED display for the first time. Does that matter, Jason?
Yeah, sure it does.
Yeah,
it's probably,
we're gonna care.
It's almost certainly
the MacBook Pro display is really, really good.
You're not going to care.
Mini LED, it's excellent.
You're not going to care in the sense that it really matters what kind of technology gets you to this point, like to the quality. But like, look at the tandem OLED on the iPad Pro. It's almost certainly going to be that. Right?
It's really good. But the one before it was really good too.
Sure.
So that went from mini LED, the larger one,
right,
went from mini LED to OLED. So it's like the same progression.
Right. And we're also almost certainly it's going to be the same kind of OLED, that tandem OLED where it's two OLEDs stacked. And that just lets you, get brighter, but it also means that at any brightness, you're kind of, it's power use and brightness are not linear. Like the brighter you go, the power use goes up even more.
Sure.
So if you want your screen to be 250 nits, kind of having 200 nit screens stacked saves you more power than having one 200 nit screen. So it's kind of a thing that you're going to get even better HDR and viewing angles, and of course response time. Response time is going to be really good. Mm-hmm. Things aren't going to blur as they move. That's kind of one of the downsides of Macs. They have a 120 hertz screen, but if you look at like the Blurbuster sites and stuff like that, like it's not really good compared to some of the best, OLED stuff. Whereas the OLEDs do great. So you'll get those things. Motion will look better and all that, but also I bet it will save battery.
Okay.
Overall, and like you can crank it up super bright, it won't. But like at normal viewing brightnesses, your normal inside office viewing brightness of 300 nits or whatever you have it at, I would expect it to use less power than the same brightness on today's MacBook screens. So you'll care about that. Everyone cares about that.
It's funny. The iPad, like, literally never gets better battery specs. Like, they went from mini LED to OLED, and it's still 10 hours. Like, every single iPad ever made gets 10 hours of battery life. It's such a funny thing. And I think they must reverse engineer that. Like, all right, we want to hit 10 hours. What size battery do we need for this? Mm-hmm. Because whereas the MacBook is always looking to push that envelope, like 20 hours, 22 hours, 24, like they always want more. So what Jason just described, like even if it's an hour over the course of a day, that's big. Visually, I mean, it'll look nicer. OLEDs are nice, but again, the mini LED on my I have a 14-inch MacBook Pro. It's really good. It's really good. The blacks are nice. The colors are crisp and vibrant. I can't imagine it's going to look that much better. But
write down the timestamp, Roman, where he says that, so that we can in a year when he looks at it, he's gonna. I can't believe how much better it looks.
Are you calling me a sycophant?
No, I'm just saying, like, you're gonna eat those words. You watch.
You really think so? You really think it's gonna be that noticeable?
I bet.
Like, if I were to buy the same machine, the 14-inch, and I know if I put them side by side, I'll be like, okay, wow. But like in normal everyday use. So when I went from the iPhone back, whenever I got the iPhone 10, so that was a big difference.
Well, sure.
It went from the backlighted LCD to OLED.
And LCDs were bad then, and there was no HDR, and there was no, this is a much better LCD.
But we've progressed quite a bit since then. But maybe Jason's right. Maybe I will be like, I can't go back to a non OLED screen ever again. And it'll probably cost more. iPad went up in price when Apple released the OLED. This will probably be the same. I wonder if they'll bump the storage to 512 as a base to kind of make up for that.
For the M6 generation, could very well be, yeah. I mean, we're talking about another year, so.
Yeah. So it's 256 now. I think 512 by then should, like, 256 is it's good, but
It's low for a laptop. I feel like it's low for a laptop. That's the first thing I would upgrade, right? Now that they all come with 16 gigs of RAM, the first thing I would update is.
Hold on one sec. I lost my volume. I don't know why.
Oh, you can't hear us? Oh no. Well, we can hear you.
That was very
strange. You can hear me say. You could hear you. That was weird. Yeah.
So I got that like do thing in my ear.
Oh, it was your
just things, changed. It changed, but it didn't go to the MacBook speakers. It went to. Hey, hold on, Roman. Don't edit this out because this is ridiculous. It went to AirPods Pro, which I haven't used in like a year. I actually gave them to my son. I don't know why. I don't even know where they are.
Maybe he just opened the case.
But he's at school. He's not even here.
Oh, no. Yeah, that is weird.
Doesn't make any sense. Anyway. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe Jason, the batteries are dying on your headphones.
No. I was saying before I got, they were fine. I don't know.
I was saying, yeah, 256 is okay, but on a laptop, you always want more. You work with big files and stuff like that.
Yeah, but particularly
a lot of stuff around.
And
there's a lot of cache around, a cache for a lot of like websites and stuff. And that's the first thing I would update. Like buying any MacBook, the first upgrade I would make would be going to 512.
Yeah, it used to be RAM, but now that they give you 16 gigs to start and higher on the Pro and Max versions, Jason's right.
Right. Yep.
But Apple makes a tidy profit on 512 gigabytes of RAM, so they can afford to
95% profit. The flash storage costs a fraction of what they charge for it.
Right. So, all right. OLED screen, new design, M6 chip. But the big thing that we've heard is that it's going to get a touchscreen in addition to the OLEDness. And I don't know who wants to start here. I'm sure we all have our opinions. Roman, I'm going to ask you first, since you haven't said anything in a while. Do you want a touchscreen MacBook?
I don't think I care. One way or another, because I've sort of, to prepare myself, I've been using my iPad a lot more.
Okay.
I know it's not a direct correlation, but I just want to use the Touch UI more.
Sure.
And then I switched back to my MacBook and stuff, and I thought I'd be like, oh, I really need the touchscreen, or I really hate the touchscreen. I haven't changed my opinion either way. It's just sometimes the touchscreen is better. Sometimes I rather use a mouse or the trackpad or whatever. The main concern that I have is, or maybe I shouldn't get into it. Maybe you guys could voice your opinion first. But anyways, I'll just say the main concern that I have is whether, like, I'm looking right now at the browser, and I'm looking at a browser tab, and I'm thinking, can I touch that X to close it properly? Will I be able to touch that target properly?
Yeah,
to do what I want?
That's a question. Yeah.
So I just don't know if there are certain touch targets will be manageable in Mac OS for a touchscreen interface. That's the thing I'm concerned about.
I think we'll know. I think we'll get our big clue next summer at WWDC. Yes. Even if they don't announce the Mac, when we see Mac OS 27,
right,
we're gonna know right away. Just sort of looking at it, we're gonna be like, look how much space is around all those touch targets. Like we're gonna see. Oh, this is meant for you to be able to touch things.
Yeah,
I wouldn't imagine they would make a touchscreen Mac just for the Mac's ability to run iPad apps. Just so that you can run iPad apps and touch those. They would want it. They would want Mac OS to have decent touch things. And I'm with you, Roman. Like Apple's always sort of complained that when you're using a computer that has like a separate screen from your like keyboard and all that stuff, you get that like sort of gorilla arm. Like you're always your arm's going up like this to like touch stuff, right, all the time. But there are times, especially when you're sort of just like swiping through a web page or on a maps or something like that, and when you want to pinch and zoom, so that's just easier than trying to do those things on the touchpad for a lot of people. So there's times when it makes sense, and there's times when it doesn't. And I don't think Apple would offer it as an option. Like I don't think they're going to make
it's either going to be all or nothing.
Options.
Yep.
So I think we're going to see when they show us the next version of of Mac OS, we're going to see, that there's not necessarily guaranteed touchscreen, but they're preparing. That's a touchable interface, and maybe we won't. Yeah.
So iPad OS 26 and Mac OS 26, they're visually much more similar now than they ever were before. Like maybe it's just my eyes, but the little circles on my Mac seem bigger than they did in Sonoma or Sequoia, whatever the heck came before this. I don't know. But like visually, like there's a similarity. And so I'm going to do your job for a second, Roman. Steve Jobs, way back when, wrote or said in an interview, we've done tons of user testing on this, and it turns out it doesn't work. Touch surfaces don't want to be vertical. And I totally agree with that. Like I know, like you can hold your iPad up, but it's still kind of vertical because you're using it the way, if I'm touching at my screen like this, and he said it, quote, it's ergonomically terrible. Yeah. And I agree with that. Maybe Apple will have some way to do it where I'll disagree, and like the OLED screen in the MacBook, like I'll also say like, all right, I was wrong. But I don't know, it just doesn't seem right.
But if you have spent any time with a young child,
right?
Yes.
It's a generational thing,
They expect to be able to touch any screen.
I get that.
They will go up to your television and try to manipulate it by touching and poking at it. And so, I think at the time he said that was true. I still think it's largely true. But I think there's more. It's not only is it more accepted now, but like now Macs can run iPad apps. There's more reason. Right. There's more apps built around touch that can run on a Mac that are not good to run on a Mac because Macs don't have touch. Like you can use them with the trackpad, and there's all this it just doesn't work well. So there's that.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people are doing that?
Hopefully they'll do Apple Pencil support too. That would be really cool. I can really imagine being in Photoshop on the Mac, doing all my Mac stuff and doing it like I normally do.
But when you're touching the screen, like if you're doing Photoshop stuff, you want precision. If you're banging against your MacBook screen, it's moving back and forth, even if it's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still not as sturdy as it is on a trackpad or a table. Or I've always wanted pencil support for my MacBook trackpad to be able to draw on the thing and appear on the screen. Like I can get behind that. But
I mean, they sell all those Wacom tablets and stuff like that. So like I can see.
But those are also
like
like an iPad.
You don't push hard with an Apple Pencil. So
but you would be if you're drawing and looking for precision in Photoshop or something. You would press a little hard.
Yeah, I mean, grab an Apple Pencil and just draw on your screen. It's not moving the screen so much that you're going to be like it's not going to do anything right now. But just do it to see. It's not moving things so much that you're just like, oh, this is screwed up. Like, wow, But also, we have to think about what does this mean for the future. Everyone talks about MacBook, and MacBook may be where it starts, but maybe then there's an all-in-one Mac that's got a touchscreen, and it's like a big drafting tablet and stuff,
Sure. And if the iMac was able to move down, like they did that with the, what was that thing called, Jason? That
was Surface.
That big giant Surface thing.
It was the first Surface. Then they used that brand for everything else. But like that big Surface
thing was super cool.
Tablet,
it didn't sell well, but
no, it was super expensive.
It was a great idea.
I remember seeing it and going like, that should have been an Apple product. It was like a little tiny box with this giant screen that turned down into a drafting table and did all this art stuff. But that notwithstanding, like I do think that there's more reason for a touch Mac now than there was when Jobs said that.
Would you buy one?
Not because it's touchscreen. Okay. Like, I'd buy one, and I'd probably use the touch sometimes, but that's not my top concern with a Mac. I just, it's like number 10 on my list of things I wish a Mac would do. But I do think there are people who would love that, especially people who are just like, oh, wow, now look at all these iPad apps that, I mean, I could always run them, but it was terrible because they're not really made for me to use a touchpad and all this, and now you can. Mm-hmm. And it also really depends on what they do with macOS. That's going to be the big key. Like, do they make macOS more delightful to use with your fingers. Because the way macOS is now, it's just not well suited, like you said.
Yeah, well, it's obviously designed for a mouse, a pointer. You know, I don't think they would ever get rid of the trackpad. Like, geez, I hope not, because it's and that has all of the touchscreen gestures that you have on your other devices. It's just made for the desktop, the Mac desktop. Mm-hmm. I don't want one. I mean, listen, I understand what you're saying, Jason. My son's 14 and he grew up on an iPad, and he has a PC that is not a touchscreen, and he uses a mouse, and he's perfectly happy with it. Like, they're different things. I mean, Windows has been making touchscreen Chromebooks too for a while.
Yeah,
and they haven't really caught on that much. So here's an example. My son has a Chromebook that has touchscreen. He never uses it. He uses the keyboard. Yeah, he never He never uses the touch part. Yeah. So
now,
like, things are supposed to be the things that they are.
When I used a Chromebook all the time, I would use the touch for like scrolling. Like, I would be on the keyboard and stuff, but then I'd get on a web page and I'm reading the web page, and I would just kind of like put my hand around the side and just like scroll up the page, you know, because I felt like that was an easier way to scroll it the amount that I wanted exactly. You know,
yep, I can see that.
It's almost kind of felt more like reading a book or something like,
yeah.
You know, so just every now and then, just a little gesture here or there, but that's not enough to put a whole touchscreen in. So,
right. I was literally just going to ask that. Like, if that's all it's for, what's the point?
Yeah. So it's up to Apple to make and Mac OS 27 that
convincing me, Apple, that
makes us look at it and go like, this would be really fun and intuitive to use with touch.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, and maybe I will be. You know, I'm going to have a lot to apologize for in 2026.
I'm not convinced they're doing it, because this is the how manyth time that we've heard like,
it's true.
In a year, for sure. Yeah, they're definitely doing a touch MacBook. You know, we've heard this before.
And Steve Jobs, in that quote, that was from, I don't know what year it was from, but like 2010 or something. He said, like, we've been working on this for a long time. Mm-hmm. So this is a project, we've heard rumors, because it's actually been a project at Apple for a couple of decades.
Oh, yeah.
They've obviously been working on it for a while.
Yeah, there's no way that there's not a bunch of prototypes and tests and software development and all this stuff that's been going on, and it's just never been good enough. Maybe it is. You know,
I mean,
it's like the folding iPhone. Maybe it just needed to get good enough.
But they didn't talk about how they're never going to do a folding iPhone because it's crap. Like Steve Jobs said, Tim Cook even said, or maybe not Cook. It might have been Federighi or somebody else. But they, like, more recently than Steve Jobs' quote from 2010, have said, like, we're not going to do that because this doesn't work. Yeah. So maybe it'll just be one model. Maybe it won't be all of them. It probably makes the most sense that Jason just said on the iMac, because that's you get a bigger screen, and, you know, it's a sturdier device. You can use it like imagine they came out with the Sunflower iMac that you could bring down and write on and then bring back up.
Yeah, the current iMac would definitely need a different kind of stand than what's on the current iMac that just tilts and it doesn't even go up or down or anything like. Yeah, that's not going to do it. But yeah, it makes sense on the iMac. It might also make sense on the rumored cheaper MacBook, which is not supposed to be. No, the cheaper MacBook, the one with an A19 in it.
That's good. Wait, hold on. Let me check off my list. That was my last point. So Jason got there before I did.
I was trying to get you there. I'm trying to end this podcast at some point.
It's only been 50 minutes. We're okay. What Jason's talking about, there's one more MacBook that's been rumored. It was rumored for this year, but it doesn't look like it. Probably next year, maybe not at all. That's going to be super low end, like $500-$600, $700 range, with an A series iPhone processor rather than an M series MacBook processor.
Right. And it is not supposed to just be the MacBook Air shell with the chip in it. It's supposed to be a different shell too, like a different design, like maybe smaller or not. I don't know, but like not just
that MacBook that they sold a decade ago.
Yeah,
that had one USB-C port. It was just called MacBook. Yeah, something like that. Although that wasn't cheap, but this one's supposed to be, like as cheap as like an M1 would be. Like I think Walmart sells it for $600, like around there.
Yes. And it's an interesting ploy, and maybe that makes sense. Not this year or anything, but it makes sense for that to be a touchscreen device.
I was just going to say that. Like that's the one that if you have a kid that grew up on iPads and wants, like that's the one that they want. Because if you're a professional, any professional, I don't care who you are, like you need to do things efficiently and do things well. If you're using a MacBook, you're probably not going to want a touchscreen. If you use an iPad, you do. That like smaller, lower end thing for, schools and stuff. Like that's the one, maybe it's a convertible, you flip it around and you can write on. That's like a Chromebook, like that era, like that, kids that use Chromebooks in schools and iPads in school. That's the device that I would think would be a touchscreen. Maybe the rumors have gotten all jumbled and it is. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes like signals get crossed.
But it begs the question, if they're going to make Mac OS handle touch well, for the $600 aimed at families and education,
maybe it doesn't run Mac OS. Maybe it's a different OS.
Yeah, well, that's true. That could be, and they wouldn't call it a MacBook. Maybe it's a whole other thing. But now we're inventing new rumors. Going back to iBook. No. But if they're going to make Mac OS do
iBook in 2026,
then why do it just for that? Why not put it on higher end MacBooks as well? So
no, and they wouldn't do that. They're not going to split Mac OS into two different versions. It's either all or nothing with Mac OS,
or make you pay a whole lot more for a MacBook Pro. And go like, it doesn't even have touch. The $600 one has touch. Right? You'd feel like left out, even if it's quote not great. You would. I want it. I don't care. Spend $2,500 for this laptop.
It's true. You're not going to take away features. No, that's very true. Maybe the MacBook runs iPad OS, and that's why they did all that multitasking stuff. Like there are ways they could do. I don't know. But it's going to be 2026, just to wrap it up. 2026 is going to be like, we say this every year. But it could be like the biggest year. They got the folding iPhone. We got the OLED MacBook. Maybe like a glimpse at these glasses. There's a lot
products,
going on.
All these new home
that
products
thing's been around too. That's another rumor. Yeah.
Big update to, starting in the spring, big update to iOS 26, or I should say all the OS 26s that should be the new Siri and all that stuff. And that's before we get to WWDC and all these other products, and then, new home products and all this other kind of stuff. Of course, we say it, like you said, we say this every year, and then more than half the products get pushed back to next year. Of course, they're never announced. It's not really pushing them back when they're never announced. But
5 years ago, we were waiting for a car.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, we never know. But there's a lot of stuff that seems like it's just close. Yeah, like it's really close.
Yeah, like when those rumors start to pile up and different people talk about them, and it's like maybe we'll see. But so big year for possibly
big year for Mac.
Yeah,
I think that cheap MacBook with the A series processor, I think that is coming in the spring. I think that's they tend to do things like in the spring that are targeted at the cheaper end of the market.
Yeah, iPhone SE,
at education. iMac, now the E series iPhones, as we have the 16E. So we'll get like the 17E and all this other stuff. So the value products seems to be a spring thing.
Yeah. And listen, a $600 brand new MacBook would be a big deal. I mean, they've never had one under $1,000 for
coming out right around the same time as new Siri and all that stuff. Right. Like that's it's good. It's an enticing thing
for sure. All right, Roman, do you have any thoughts before I wrap this up? Since you're our Mac guy.
No, you guys pretty much summed it up. I was just
dynamite dropping.
Yes, there you go. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're moving on. So we're trying to come up with fun segments. Some might stick, some might not. But this one's called The Coolest Thing I Saw This Week. I'm going to go second on this one. Roman, let's go with you.
Yeah, let's start with Roman.
Make up for your
All right.
one.
So my coolest thing, I don't know how cool it is really, but so I was out and about this weekend, and on Friday night, I went to a concert, and sitting there, and people were pulling out their phones to record snippets of the concert.
Who'd you see before we get to the cool thing?
I saw the world's greatest ukulele player, Jake,
no way.
Jake Shimabukuro. So
I don't have a comment for that.
Yes,
no questions. Just keep going.
So yes, and he, people, what people do, they record snippets.
Yeah, sure.
And
for ukuleleworld.net.
Yes, and person in front of me pulled out their phone, and it was a iPhone 17 Pro in orange. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool because, you don't usually, it's funny because, it's
only
orange.
Been a couple of weeks. Yeah.
It's only been a couple of weeks. You don't usually see the new phone out,
Yeah.
I have it because of what we do.
You're special. Yes, I guess.
I'm special. And, because of what we do, I have more of an eye of like checking out what phones people have. And I saw it in the concert. Oh, that's kind of cool. And, guy was recording and I was watching him record. I was watching him play with, fiddle with the phone as he was recording.
Was he using camera control?
He didn't use camera control. So then there was that. So then later on throughout the weekend, I saw the same phone 2 more times just out on the street, people taking, pictures of themselves doing whatever. And then on Sunday, I was at a restaurant/bar, and the guy on the table next to me, he had an iPhone 17
These
Pro
are all
Max orange. And they were all orange.
So here's a question. Do you think you only noticed it because it was orange and San Francisco just has a lot of money and people buy new phones all the time?
I am in a unique situation, because like I said, we have an eye for it because of what we do. Because
it's also
an orange
obvious
phone.
now, right? It wasn't always so obvious in the past which one you had.
Right. And I'm in San Francisco where people tend to be, early adopters of stuff. And so, but I can't recall.
But that's a lot. Four in a couple of days. I haven't seen any. And I live in Connecticut. In fact, someone asked me about the Air the other day. I was in a supermarket, and they're like, "Is that the new iPhone? Is it really thin?" Yeah. I haven't seen any pros.
So, anyways, I thought that was pretty cool because within 2 days, I saw. I usually don't notice that many, but yeah. Anyways,
we'll find out soon. Apple's earnings are October 30th, I believe, and we'll find out if this super cycle that we're hearing about is real, because the numbers will be for those couple of weeks at the end of September will be bigger than usual. All right, so that's 4 cool things you saw that wrapped into one. So I have one. I coach my son's baseball team. Sorry, Jason, I have to have another baseball reference. So he's 14 now, and the team is young. It's 13 and 14, and we play in a league with 15 and 16 year olds. So I have to strategize and find a way to keep these kids competitive because they're playing against kids that are much bigger than them. So I use an app called Game Changer. And if anyone listening to this that plays amateur sports at any level, like T-ball, Little League, anything, you this is the app to use. It has stats it's like the ESPN app, but for kids. So it has stats and box scores and all that stuff. And so what I do every week before I prepare for a game, I'll pour over these stats. And I'll say, how did this kid do in this spot with 2 strikes and who pitched well and how many walks did we have? And with guy on third, how did he handle it? So I it takes me a while. And just the other day, Saturday, I went into the app and I opened it up and there's this new tab called Insights. And I said, oh, that's new. So I clicked it and man, presumably it uses AI. And it gave me 9 things from the game that I was looking at of like all the stuff that takes me like, I don't know, 20 minutes to a half hour to find. Like it was all right there. Like, your number 3 hitter had, saw 3 pitches after 2 strikes and fouled 2 off, like stuff like that. It was amazing. It was the first time that I've ever like seen like an AI thing that actually helped me.
That's
because I don't really use it. And right. Like that's exactly what AI is supposed to do. Like I'm sure there's some guy in Major League Baseball that's worried that he's going to lose his job. But I don't have that person. So it was like, wow, this is like, I can see how AI, forget about the content creation stuff like that. Right. I don't care about that. But like being able to analyze like 2 hours worth of numbers and distill it down to a couple of key points. It was fantastic. I actually emailed
exactly
the app.
the kind of stuff.
Like I never do that stuff.
Yeah. I wonder what they're using for their back end for that. I wonder, because like I was going to ask, can you export your data, and have you tried just exporting it, dumping it at a chat GPT and saying, can you tell me like what my lineup should be like this coming based on this data? What should my lineup be?
So you can export the data into an Excel document. I haven't tried that. I could. That's a good idea, Jason.
But my guess is that, I mean, none of these guys are inventing and training new giant new AI models. It's all on the back end. They're all the corporate customers of OpenAI and what's and Meta and everybody else. And then they basically have they're buying usage tokens essentially in bulk, and then your app, and then they sell them to you. Because let me guess, that feature, that Insights feature, isn't free. It's a subscription thing.
I paid $10 a month to subscribe to the app, and it was part of that.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's exactly the kind of thing that this is really good at, is taking a bunch of sort of disparate data that normally you have to really kind of think about and look, and it always has been. People who are into, say, like the oil and gas industry, for example, like they used to take a bunch of ground data, like seismology data from the ground. They would and dump all of that into a machine learning model that would look at it all and go like, okay, it's likely to be oil at this spot or whatever, and how much, and all this other, it's just too much data for one person to kind of wrap their head around and look at. And that's what AI is really great at.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of thing. And that's what I think we're going to see. What you had just experienced with the sports app is exactly what we're going to see with a health and fitness app from Apple. I bet this is exactly what their new coach is. It's going to look at all the data in your health app and fitness app, and maybe some additional stuff. Maybe they'll do some food tracking and stuff like that in there as well. It's going to run all on your device because this is your personal health data, and it's going to give you some key insights just the same way. Hey, you slept really bad when you ate late at night the last 4 times. Don't eat after 10 p.m. or whatever. It's going to give you these things, and you're just going to go like, I never really noticed that.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, who like I know, like Jason is way more invested in AI. Not that he uses it. I don't know what you use, what you're not, but you read the stuff and you can understand it. Like I just know it exists. This was like, wow. It was like really eye opening. That like holy cow, like this stuff could really help me. Like Jason, I'm trying to figure out what it uses. I think it's proprietary. Is that possible?
They almost certainly do not tell you. None of these things do. Like none of these things go, we're a front end for a special, for like special. Basically, we're a Chat GPT prompt, but like a special front end for like a curated Chat GPT prompt with a bunch of restrictions already put on it, like ahead of time. Like nobody's. Imagine going to Chat GPT and going like, okay, you're a little league coach. And you blah, 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 and just giving it all this stuff for how it's supposed to answer you. And then giving it your data and asking the questions. Like essentially that's what that app's doing on the front end. Maybe it's not ChatGPT, maybe it's Meta's thing or so whatever, but that's what all these things do. Because that company, whoever makes that app, does not have billions of dollars to go train a new massive AI model on a whole bunch of things. They can make modifications to the AI, and that's who the real customers are for all these big AI apps and big AI models.
Yeah, all I see is
cool.
quotes from like they're like AI people, but they don't say what it
There's
is.
a million of these in all kinds of apps, and absolutely none of them are collecting whole new data to train like new AI models. You know, they're what they're doing is they're creating modifications on big new AI models that come from what's Meta's called again? I forget. I can't remember. Llama, or OpenAI's got various different models for corporate usage like this, and that are just a front end for those things. It's neat. That is.
It'll save me time. Hopefully, make us play better too.
I want to know how, if it gives you good advice. Like now that you got that information, like you use it after you use it a couple of weeks, you're just like, it's given me really good.
So it didn't it wasn't so much that it told me what to do. It just broke down the things that I look at.
Okay.
Like you're like these 3 kids drove in all of your RBIs. This kid had a long at bat, things that I would have to like look at every play, like remember stuff. And so there might be, I haven't looked, but there might be a feature where it says, next game, maybe shift the 6 and the 5 batter or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. To do this, you are in all your games and practices, you're just entering data like crazy, right? Yeah. There's no automated way to enter any of this data for you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like my wife does the plays, like ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4. Like she's doing like the whole game, and then that gets fed into a thing, and then I take all that 3 days later and make a lineup, and it's all for 13-year-old baseball. I can't even imagine what it's like if I was like on the Toronto Blue Jays or something.
Oh well, they have offices to do this. They have a whole staff of people doing this. Right. Yeah, interesting.
All right, what's your cool thing, Jason?
It's very shifting gears from that.
It's not baseball related.
No, it got me sympathetic about how Apple announces a product and then it releases like right after,
right?
Because not everybody does this. Like it's common for new game consoles to announce and show stuff months ahead of time, and pre-orders to open months ahead of time, and then the thing comes out later. So I play guitar. You could maybe see my stuff here on the side if you're looking. And it's a really common thing with guitar these days is what they call modeling, which is instead of buying different amps and preamps and stuff like that, there's basically computers with DSPs and stuff who fake the sound, and they're very good at it.
You mean like the pedals?
Those two? Yeah, all the different pedals, reverbs, and all those other kinds of things. Like they'll fake specific models of those, but also, I mean, the big amps, the speaker and the big amplifiers and stuff to mimic the sound of those things and stuff like that. Various different ones. This has been going on a long time. One of the most popular ones is from a company called Line 6. Yamaha owns them, called a Helix. And they have a big one that's got the really cool interface, and it's very popular. And you can get, one of the things about this is if you're trying to get the tone of something you heard on a record or something, there's a million people out there who are doing those, and they make their setups that you can just download. So you can just download somebody's thing, and run it yourself and all.
So just pause for a second, because I'm not a guitar guy. So you're saying that different amps have like if you're playing a concert, like you have different amps for different sounds and different songs and things, like the actual amplifier.
Yeah, they wouldn't necessarily change the amp for every different song. That would usually be just like different pedals and reverbs and stuff like that. But like
specific,
yes,
like a band would pick an amp based on how it sounds.
Yes, very much. Anyway, so the Helix has been around for 10 years, and it's been very well supported. All these new software updates and all this stuff. You added all these great new capabilities. Everybody loves it. It's like professional gear now. People take them to gigs and replace their whole setup full of wires and their whole and pedals and all this other stuff with just like this. They announced the new one a few months ago, the Helix Stadium. And it's got, whole new everything inside, outside, like new touchscreen, a new way to model amps, all this other stuff. Like it's the new next generation. Everyone's really excited about it, but it's not. They when they announce it, and they're like coming this fall, pre-order yours now.
So that was like the summer. When did they announce it? Or they just announced it this week?
No, months ago, like in the spring or something. Like April, May. I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Right.
And everybody's was frustrated because they have been dribbling out information very slowly since then.
Right.
But there was a big guitar show in Germany the week before last. And of course, Yamaha was there in Line 6, and we're getting close to fall. So they had it there, and they did like they do at places like CES and stuff like that. They've got like a hotel room where they're giving demos and stuff like that. And so all these videos came out of like all the YouTubers and influencers,
like real world videos.
Yeah, in the guitar universe, all the content creators and stuff have like demos now of this actual thing that is hopefully coming very soon. Now we still don't have a release date, but like fall's pretty much here. Like it's got to come out in the next couple months. Yeah, they get it.
Like
they have till December 21st.
Yeah, they got 2.5 months, but
and still be fall. But so it's so for me, I've been excited because I've been watching these videos and going.
Is it expensive?
I know I get my yes. Yes, it's expensive. It's way cheaper than buying all the various different things it could do.
Right.
But it is not a cheap product. It's a professional product made for like touring musicians and all this other kind of stuff. It's way too much for me, but I like to buy things and have them be good for 10 years. Like
so you're going to pre-order it when you
I already have. Like if you pre-ordered it now, you won't get one this year. They won't They won't have enough. They have more pre-orders than they're going to get stock for sure. But that's my point is like I pre-ordered this months ago and you're just waiting. You're just kind of
there's nothing worse than when you really want something, you put the money down and then you just gotta wait.
Yeah. So
I ask, is it more or less than a 2 terabyte iPhone 17 Pro? Because I don't
2 terabyte iPhone 17 Pro,
like $2,000. That's like $2,000.
It's in that ballpark.
I was just going to have a base model for this stuff. Well, that's not so bad considering it's going to last you a long time.
Well, that would be the idea. Is this is a company that people trust to have really good long term support and just keep updating it with like great new free stuff.
That's good.
For years and years, but it's very expensive to begin with. And once again, the AI stuff is there. Like there's no the way they do their modeling is an AI, even though a lot do. But there's a feature that it'll have where you can dump. They call this stem splitting. This exists already on a lot of computers, where you can dump in a whole song and say, all right, split this into tracks. Split this into the vocals, the background vocals, the bass, the drums, the guitar, the keyboard, so they're all on separate tracks, and then I can just adjust the tracks individually.
That's cool.
And so it's going to have, you can do that, and it's going to be all done in the cloud, but you can just dump in a song, and then on the device you can just like, our keyboard player didn't show up today. We'll turn on the keyboard track so we can play and just have the sound. Oh, they're here. We're going to mute the keyboard. Whatever. You do all those kinds of things. So I'm really looking forward to that. For me, I'm not a touring musician or that good or anything. For me, as somebody who's learning, it's great because you can play a song you want to play and know, and you can play along with it. And then as you kind of get the hang of it and get better, you can turn down the guitar part that you're playing until it's muted, until you're basically doing karaoke, right? It's muted and you're just playing, it's all the rest of the song from the album, but you're playing the guitar part. So you can get there. So that's coming soon. Next year. And I'm just glad that Apple doesn't do that thing where very often things like Apple Watch and stuff like that. Happened. Sometimes it has happened, but for the most part, they don't go like, this is coming, pre-order now. And then like you wait months for it to come out.
Well, next year we'll have a baseball and guitar podcast because I'm interested in all that stuff, and I can't contribute. All right, what are we up to next, Roman?
So now, Yeah. So now it's time for this week in Apple history. And on October 5th, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away. And people probably know this. I mean, it was kind of was the 5th was a Sunday, or was that? Yeah,
no,
Sunday.
I think it was a weekday.
Well, it was a weekday, but no. Right now it was this year.
This year the 5th was a Sunday. Yes.
Yeah. And people, if you follow websites and stuff, you probably saw stuff online about the anniversary of Steve Jobs' death 14 years ago. We all know the history of Steve Jobs. We don't need to rehash that. So I thought maybe we could just talk about if we remember where we were when we heard that Steve Jobs passed away.
Well, you can start. It's your segment.
That's my thing. So when Steve Jobs passed away at the time, so that's 2011. So I was coaching my son's soccer team, and we were having practice, and practice had just about ended. And one of the parents who came to pick up their kids, he said to me, "Hey, Rowan, did you hear Steve Jobs passed away?" And I kind of went, "What?" And even though we all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, he was sick. He had already stepped down. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of like, oh, that's a big news thing. I need to get back to work or something. So I kind of like, the kids were still kind of, you know how practice goes, Mike. You're done, but the kids are still kind of
lingering,
and parents are talking and stuff. And so the guy I coached with, he was all, you can leave. I'll take care of everything. I'll clean up and stuff like that. So I left, and then I got home, and I was kind of like, well, what do I do now? Because back then.
So where were you working? Were you working here?
I was at Macworld. But the thing was,
you didn't have an obituary all ready to go.
They did.
Oh, they did. Yeah,
they did.
Okay, yeah.
And Macworld was a much bigger staff then.
Yeah, of course.
And they actually had a news department that I was in the reviews department. But because it was a timely event, I felt like I had to be on hand for some reason or another. But I didn't really need to be because they had it all taken care of.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I should be doing something, and I didn't know what to do with myself then. And I just kind of ended up spending the next couple hours just perusing websites and reading about Steve Jobs and people's write-ups about, not necessarily obituaries, but, what Steve Jobs meant to them and what they meant to the industry and stuff like that. So
I was in a similar position with Roman because I was at the same company. I was just at PC World.
Yeah.
And we all worked in the same big open office plan area and stuff. All the Macworld people were right there and PC World people were right here. And Steve Jobs died in the middle of the night. He died at 3 a.m. or something like that. So the news came out the next day during the day.
Right.
I don't remember what time they kind of released it, but it came out.
For you guys, it would have been mid-afternoon.
Right. They didn't they didn't officially announce his death till I don't remember.
Because it was evening where I was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He passed at 3 a.m. Pacific time.
No, I'm saying when the news
and they
dropped.
announced it the following afternoon.
Right.
And I remember, being at the office and there's just a bunch of hubbub with the Macworld folks. Everybody knew it was coming because he was literally on his deathbed, for a while. It's just a matter of, and the obits planned, the cover of the magazine is planned. Everybody's got it ready to go, and it's okay, time to put the plan in motion. And I don't know if Roman, I'm curious since you were in the staff and stuff, if you kind of felt like that was the vibe. It's just okay, we have the plan. We have the time.
Yeah.
Press live on the article, right? You're just going to update the sort of day and date on the article.
Right.
And press live, and this is going to be our cover this month, and yada. There was just it just seemed like it was so telegraphed. It was so well known that this was going to happen that at least at Macworld, they seemed to just be everything is ready to go. just
yeah.
Okay,
See, that was since I was coaching my son's soccer team, I left early that day. I think I would leave like at, I don't remember, it was 3 or 4 o'clock that day to coach my son's soccer team. So I didn't actually, and back then we didn't have like these online communication tools to organize each other. We were all in the office. We didn't work at home.
Yeah, nobody was on Slack. That wasn't a thing.
Right. So when the news came down, I was, I wasn't in the office, so I missed out on, I don't know if it was
missed out.
Yeah, I kind of missed out on the hubbub or the bustle of what, of attending to the content that we had planned. So, yeah, so that's why I had this kind of weird detachment or this weird kind of sense of missing out. Not that I wanted to miss out on Steve. I know it sounds weird to say I missed out on Steve Jobs, but I felt like I should have been doing something, and I didn't know what to do because I wasn't in the office, and they didn't really need me in the office at that time because we had a whole staff taking care of it. So
yeah, and who had really done most of the work already.
Right.
Like, it was so well known that he ain't going to make it. Like there's a point when he was sick where you're just like going, all right, what do we need to get ready? But by the time he passed, it was everybody had known for weeks at that point that like, oh no, he's going to die soon, like for sure. And we'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
So I was working at the Boston Herald newspaper in South Boston at the time, 2011, and the day before he died was the iPhone 4S event.
Right.
And, that was, I don't remember if it was live streamed, but if it wasn't, when I watched the video, there was a single seat. I think it was the front row, maybe it was the second row, all the way to the end that said reserved. Didn't say anything about Steve Jobs, just said reserved. And I was off that day. I called my editor and I said, hey, someone needs to write. So, we weren't a tech paper. We were just a newspaper. And, we were small. And I said, someone needs to get an obituary ready for Steve Jobs because I don't think he's going to last a week. Because, it was clear that they were saying to the world, like, hey, he's Steve Jobs. Like, who else would you reserve a seat for?
He's not with us. Yeah.
Right. So, they did. And then the next day he died. I did work the next day and I was like the office hero. Because they were like, wow, like you saved us like hours of work. Because we you think that all newspapers have a staff that do this stuff. Like they don't. Like we're just as dumb as everybody.
Big famous people, little bits. They do kind of have prepared and stuff. But like, I'm a little surprised they didn't have one just because it was known for a couple of weeks before that he was basically in a hospital bed, like just
like I said,
every day, any day now. Like
people thought out in Boston that we were this big operation. Like we weren't. We had like 25 people, and we had to put together a giant paper every single day. Like it wasn't.
Yeah,
it's not the. I'm sure the Boston Globe had an obituary done, but we didn't.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like I'll never forget that day. I had just started working there maybe a year prior or something, and that was when everyone found out that I freelanced for. It wasn't Macworld yet. I was freelancing for Mac Life at the time. But it was a good moment for me. It was like rah rah, good job.
I don't know and all that stuff. I don't know if this has been reported, but I wonder if he watched the event.
I wonder, yeah.
Because it's literally he died that night. Like the event was October 4th. He died at 3 a.m. on October 5th. So if he was in that bad a shape, like did he bother to watch? I can imagine that him being on his deathbed watching an Apple event. Sure. But like the day before,
calling Tim Cook and criticizing something, sure.
Right, but if it's like the day before, if he's in that bad a shape, maybe not. So yeah, I'm very curious.
I mean, I remember the event. I guess it was WWDC in June. Like he looked bad. Like he was so frail.
Oh yeah, he was very
slow, and he talked very very lowly. Like he just
WWDC in June was the last one. He kind of led.
It was tough to watch that decline over his couple of years, but yeah, it was rough.
Pancreatic cancer, man.
Yeah, terrible.
Anyways, so rest in peace, Steve Jobs. That's
sure.
That's I tried to figure out a way to close out this segment.
Continue resting in peace.
So yeah. Now it's time for the Macworld Podcast mailbag. Jason, do you want to read that email that you got?
Yeah, I got an email from a reader about our iPhone Air review.
Your iPhone Air review.
I wrote it, but it is Macworld's review. It is from JG. That's how he signs it off. His full name is a long Indian or Pakistani name that I would butcher if I tried to read it, but he writes JG. So, dear Mr. Jason, which I love when someone says Mr. and then first name.
The best. I love it.
It's just very, it's kind of very Southern.
It's quaint and respectful and all that stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Right. Like it's Miss Annie or something like that. Like it's very Southern. Anyway, thank you for writing an enlightening article. Who would expect a Fiat 500 to perform like a Ferrari Formula One, although they are both Italian-inspired products? More foolish, who would pay a Ferrari price to purchase a Fiat 500? Looks like Tim is no Steve when it comes to innovation, except for running quite a high employee turnover. With best wishes, JG. And I appreciate that. I don't think it's the best analogy because it's more like the iPhone Air. Nobody looks at a Fiat 500 and goes like, that is the slickest looking car. Right. You are getting a Ferrari looking car.
Yeah, right. It's almost it's almost the reverse analogy.
Right. It's just that it's it's missing features and not as fast as a cheaper phone.
Right.
But you're getting the style and frankly durability, which is wild. But
so I was thinking about I didn't hear that, but I was thinking about Jason's review Sunday when I edited it, because on Saturday it was a long baseball day and I had my phone with me, and at like 6 o'clock, I was down to like 17%. And I said, like, did I make a mistake here? The battery life is definitely, and the performance is fine as far as like the chip goes, but the battery is definitely an issue. I'm going to deal because I like it. I like the design a lot, and I happily paid a Porsche price for a Fiat, but I can understand the criticism. And Jason's, he actually texted me Monday and said, sorry, I know you like the phone, but I couldn't give it a high score. And, I get it. Like, I understand, like, it's definitely, and I responded to him, like, I don't know who I would recommend this phone to. Like, I love it, but I would have a real hard time telling someone to buy it without a major caveat. Because I would feel bad if they bought it and they're like, how come the battery does it last me all day?
Yeah, there's this Venn diagram of like, will spend $1,000 on a phone, wants my phone to look really, really like fancy and impressive,
and wears Toronto Blue Jays hats,
and like casual enough that I just don't care that it is missing cameras. I don't or that I'm not going to run out of battery life because I don't do a whole lot of video or playing games or something, like super casual. So it's like, what's the Venn diagram overlap of spends $1,000, needs the highest style, and is super casual? Like, it's just.
I'm not even super casual. I'm just willing to charge my phone
deal with it.
So
yeah, it's just that. It's that thing. The performance thing is weird to me because it does have an A19 Pro with one less GPU core in it, but you'd still think it would beat an A19, but it doesn't. It just gets too hot. Everything crammed up in that little.
Do you know? So you
plateau. It throttles down.
Yeah. Like you talk about that in your review. You did a good job of it. Like, why didn't Apple just put an A19 in it? Like, do you have any insight into that?
Some of it might be. Well, I certainly don't have any insight. Like, they don't tell me.
No. Not from Apple directly, but just in your.
If I had to guess, it could be a couple things. Like, one, if they're going to charge this much, it's got to be Pro, right?
Yes, I mean, I don't think anybody would have not bought it because it didn't have a Pro chip.
Yeah, who knows? But the other is that the Pro chip does have 12 gigs and the regular has 8.
That's a good point.
And there may be software that is not out yet where that difference, and they want to make sure that this phone can do whatever that is. Right.
That makes the most sense. Yeah.
So that would be my guess is that they're working on something either for an update this spring or for iOS 27 where they're just like
it has to be included.
It's got to be 12 gigs and we definitely don't want to release that and everyone with an iPhone Air is like, what? I don't get that. My phone is still $12.
I paid $1,000 for this thing. That makes total sense.
So.
We got one more comment. We'll wrap this up with one more
It's already been an hour and a half, Roman. Why are we rushing?
This comment comes from Stephen Ray on Facebook. He said, "I always think your voices don't match your appearance. They should be reversed." And he's talking about you and Mike and Jason.
No way.
He thinks it should be reversed. I have my own radio show, and all the time people tell me I don't look like I sound. I should be used to it. Keep up the great work. And he listens to the podcast every week.
That's pretty fun.
We should,
Jason, I can send you a bunch of baseball caps if you'd like one.
We should do a voice swap where, we'll just I'll talk and you'll mouth the words and vice versa. And you'll just see if it seems right, if it just feels right to people.
Well, we're both wearing a very similar shade of blue today, if that matters.
Yeah. What does your shirt say? Nike? It says
Nike baseball.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine says Alexa, stop.
Is it? Oh yeah, I've seen that one on you before. I like it.
Yeah, I have heard that about me before. When somebody sees me, I'm very tall. Like I'm 6'4". I have broad shoulders. Yeah. I'm a very tall person.
I was surprised the first time I met you how tall you were because I'm fairly tall, but you're really tall.
That and everybody who says they're tall isn't as tall as they say they are. So like when somebody is actually 6'4", you're like, oh, you're very tall. Yeah. And so my voice is I think they expect a deeper, bigger voice than I have.
That could be. But you're sitting. That guy doesn't know how tall you are.
No, he doesn't. I'm just saying I get that kind of a lot where people just are not expecting me to have the voice I have. So
people tell me I sound like Ray Romano sometimes.
A little bit. It's that background nasal thing that he always has.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mike, are you 6 feet tall?
Yeah, like 6'1". Yeah.
So we're all over. I'm 6'2", so we're all over 6 feet. We're the 6 foot podcast.
We can start a new podcast. What's it like to live with a 6 footer?
Yeah, we've got three new podcasts going on here.
Write that down, Ron.
I can tell you as somebody who's about to fly this weekend to go somewhere, there are plenty of times I wish I was a couple inches shorter, and flying is one of them.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
My son is he's like 5'10" or something, but he's a pitcher in baseball. And if you look at like Paul Skeens and Mizorowski and all these pitchers, they're all like super tall. So he really wants to be like 6'3". And I keep telling him
more leverage.
You're fine the way you are. Like, listen, if he makes it to the majors, great. But let's have realistic goals.
Yeah, I can't adjust that. No, I'm 6'4" and I'm all legs. So plane seats, man. Plane seats.
Yeah.
I don't mind my wife going like, can you be tall for me? Like to get something on the top shelf. I'm cool with that. That is not a problem with being tall. But plane seats are not made for tall people.
Yeah. And that wraps up the Macworld Podcast Mailbag.
Okay. And that does it for this episode of the Macworld Podcast, episode number 954. Thanks to Jason Cross, 6'4" Jason Cross. Thanks to Roman Loyola.
Thank you, sir.
And thanks to you, the audience, for tuning in. You can subscribe to the Macworld Podcast in the podcast app on Spotify, YouTube, at the Macworld Podcast channel, or through any other podcast app. Any comments or questions? We've been through this, but contact us through Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads. Search for Macworld, send us an email. Just like that guy did to Jason. They're like, see, we read them. It's good.
Yeah, we read them. Sometimes out loud into a microphone.
Right. And look for the well, if you're searching, look for the Blue Mask logo. Roman, I'm sorry, I butcher your conclusion every single week.
I'm telling you, write your own.
It's too late. But that ship has sailed 930 episodes ago. Join us in the next episode of the Macworld Podcast as we talk about everything. See, I screwed it up again. Wait. Join us in the next episode of the Macworld Podcast as we talk about the latest in the world of Apple. See you next time.